fugitive Australian journalist Shane Dowling from the website kangaroocourtofaustralia.com. Now, in 2022, a $500,000 payment was made to Rochelle Miller, and everything points to it being for a sexual assault complaint against Josh Frydenberg, then the former federal treasurer. And I'll get into that in a minute, but first of all, I just want to start off by mentioning that Linda Reynolds, Senator Linda Reynolds, has been mouthing off in the media over the last few weeks, that she's going to make a formal complaint to the National Anti-Corruption Commission in relation to a payment to Brittany Higgins. Well, I don't think it's going to happen, but it could happen because she's that stupid. And the reason I say she's that stupid, because if she makes a complaint to the National Anti-Corruption Commission, the first thing they're going to have to do is have a look at why the payment was made to Brittany Higgins. And, well, once you start digging down that hole, they come up with things like, evidence was destroyed by the government. A couple of hours after the alleged rape, the government in Linda Reynolds' office had the lounge steam cleaned. And why'd they have it steam cleaned? Well, they obviously knew something had happened in the lounge, and they knew security had found a naked lady, Brittany Higgins, on the lounge. And you don't have to be a rocket scientist to work out, well, maybe she was raped. And you shouldn't be steam cleaning the lounge, but the government did that. And that's obviously one of the reasons they'd have to pay Brittany Higgins a fair bit amount of compensation, because that undermined her ability to get justice in the court, destroying evidence. And Linda Reynolds would know all about that, and she'd be called as a first witness. So she's going to make a complaint to the National Anti-Corruption Commission, she claims. The first witness they're going to call is Linda Reynolds to explain why the lounge was cleaned. So I don't think it'll be happening, but the National Anti-Corruption Commission, apparently already investigating the Brittany Higgins alleged rape, a cover-up. The previous law enforcement body, the Australian Commission for Law Enforcement Integrity, was meant to be investigating. They had a formal complaint. That body has been rolled into the National Anti-Corruption Commission, so they should be continuing with that investigation. They said they're going to continue with any investigation from that body, and that's one of them. So they'll be obviously investigating the alleged cover-up of the alleged rape. Back to the payment, $500,000 payment. Some say it's $600,000 or $650,000, or we obviously don't know. There's a confidentiality agreement. Payment to cover up the alleged assault by Josh Frydenberg. Now, I wrote an article in May 2022, and the title of the article is "Scott Morrison Confirms $500,000 Payment Was Not for the Alan Tudge Abuse," which means it had to be for the sexual assault complaint against Josh Frydenberg. Now, the article starts off, Scott Morrison and Senator Ann Rushton, who was a coalition campaign spokesman, have both stated the $500,000 that was paid to Rochelle Miller is for a separate matter other than the ones that were the subject of the Tom inquiry, which means it has to be for the alleged sexual assault, sexual harassment by Federal Treasurer Josh Frydenberg. On the 11th of April, Ann Rushton said on ABC Radio, the payout was not related to the misconduct allegations raised by Miller, but a separate matter. And on the 17th of April, the AFR, Australian Financial Review, published an article titled Rochelle Miller's Taxpayer-Funded Payout, Not About Tudge, PM. Both Scott Morrison and Ann Rushton refused to answer further questions, claiming they did not know what the separate matter was for the $500,000 payment, which is not believable. The problem for Scott Morrison, Ann Rushton, and the media claiming they don't know what the separate matter is that it's not too hard to put all the various news reports together to tell the full story. And that's what I've done below, and that's what I did in the article, so you can visit my website and read all that. And I'll read you two key parts. On the 13th of April 2022, Rochelle Miller's lawyers published an email sent to the government lawyers releasing the government from its non-disclosure agreement, so Scott Morrison could answer media questions on the issue. Then on the 16th of April 2022, the Saturday paper published an article titled Exclusive Harassment Claims About Another Liberal MP by Karen Middleton, which starts off, as a former government staffer moves to settle a $500,000 complaint over mistreatment, new details emerge of sexual harassment she allegedly suffered from another Liberal MP. The former government staffer who accused senior Liberal MP Alan Tudge of abusing her during a past consensual affair has alleged that another Liberal politician sexually harassed her at Parliament House more than a decade ago. The account is understood to form part of the negotiated settlement with the Commonwealth, reported to be worth more than $500,000. The government has declined to confirm details of the payment or explain why it's being made. Rochelle Miller's allegations go beyond those she levelled at Alan Tudge, which he denies. They are understood to include specific historical allegation of sexual harassment against a different Liberal MP who is still in federal parliament. The incident is alleged to have occurred in 2010. Now, I'll publish an article in relation to that. Another MP is meant to be Josh Frydenberg, and correspondence was sent to him. He's never denied the allegation. Now, that's clearly a matter. It's only 12 months old, a bit over 12 months. That should be referred to the National Anti-Corruption Commission. Now, Rochelle Miller was happy for the non-disclosure agreement to be lifted, but the government didn't want to, obviously. And obviously, it's very embarrassing for the government. So I'll be writing to the National Anti-Corruption Commission saying, look, Rochelle Miller was happy to have that agreement lifted so the full details can be made public. And that's something the National Anti-Corruption Commission should investigate, because if $500,000 were paid to cover up a sexual harassment, sexual assault by Josh Frydenberg as a national scandal. He was a former federal treasurer, and he was obviously trying to position himself to become Prime Minister at some stage. So it's in the public interest. We all know those details. In relation to Linda Reynolds referring to Brittany Higgins' payment to the National Anti-Corruption Commission, well, like I said at the beginning, I think it'll backfire, and I'll do another video on that in the near future. And I got Christian Porter in the background as well, because he raised $1 million to sue for defamation. That in itself needs investigation. And some people will sort of link the matters, but I think that's a separate matter. But obviously, it's a separate corruption matter, and it needs to be fully investigated. And I suspect someone would have already referred that matter to the National Anti-Corruption Commission, but it doesn't matter if they get a couple of referrals, they'll refer that one as well. Now, Kangaroo Court of Australia's independent media. I'm 100% reliant on crowdfunding from the readers of my website and viewers of my YouTube channel. So please support my Patreon account. You can donate any amount, $3, $5, $10, $15, $20, $30, $40, $50, whatever suits your budget. It all helps out. I'm currently sitting on 251 patrons donating $1,502 a month. I really need to double that to become financially viable. So please donate. You can donate any amount. It all helps out in a big way. And please share this video on Facebook and Twitter, etc. Thank you for your time and have a good day.